we'll get another angle of some rock.
Yeah.
We have a question about why haven't we been using Hercules attached to Argus anyway with the sonar? Would that conflict with the sonar performance?
So, I mean, short of sonar, yeah, the sound would interrupt it a little bit, but we're towing Argus, and Hercules is not meant to be towed. It's a precision vehicle used for observations and sampling, so it's not the right tool for the job, you know?
Mm-hmm.
How fast can Hercules go, like, forwards?
Maximum, what, 1.5?
1.52 maybe?
But you'd be, depending on current, you'd kind of be pushing it and you'd be racing to keep up.
Yeah, we'd have to be driving Herc ahead and not be able to really look or stop at anything, so it defeats the purpose.
Yeah.
And also, I think the sonars and thrusters on Herc would interfere with the sonar anyway, so
Herc's pretty loud.
It wouldn't really be a good thing.
We'd have to be in our little tow mode. It'd really be in the way and of no benefit.
Got it. Can Herc go down without Argus?
No. You can have ROVs like Herc go down without a different ROV, but in this case...
Yeah, but not the way these two are set up.
No.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for all your questions. Keeps us busy.
Oh, so Valeria, did you want to have your serious conversation?
Oh yeah, of course. I'm gonna have a serious conversation with you guys. So we've been discussing with this group of people all around the world. We have a marine debris group, and a couple of days ago, a conversation about gathering plastics from the ocean, cleaning them, and using them to produce fabric and clothing in general started. And I am not super into it, as a couple of other people in different organizations are not into it, but a couple are very much into it. So I wanted to know if you have any thoughts about that.
Can you tell us first why you're not?
So plastic fibers, as in a lot of our actually I am wearing now a jacket that it's a lot of plastic, right? Every time we wash them, nanoparticles and microplastics go through the water stream, and they reach the oceans too. So having microplastics all over the place where we cannot track them, we cannot pick them up, it's for me as dangerous or maybe more than having big pieces of plastic that we at least can locate, and perhaps we can, of course, take them out of the ocean and perhaps build things that are not so easily weathered as fabric. So since we wash our clothes very frequently, I'm thinking that perhaps using that for clothing is not the best option that we have. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't done too much research into what you would do after you clean it up. It's an interesting question.
But if just kind of left in the environment, all plastics will eventually break down into microplastics, correct?
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely, yeah. What we would be doing is perhaps accelerating that process by...
Yeah, and then that stuff can get stuck in fish gills and
exactly.
all sorts of things, intestines.
And also I was reading about some zooplankton feeding on plastics, microplastics, and affecting their buoyancy. So some different species of zooplankton are now not able to to float and like move along the water column as easily as they used to do in the past because of this changes in the buoyancy because of plastics. So there's a lot of things that we don't know about it, right?
I know that there's an organization called 4Ocean, like the number 4Ocean, and they clean up plastic in the ocean and then make like bracelets and things out of them. So that's less, you know, it's less likely to decompose like washed clothing would.
Yeah, and then the like sales go just to fund their operations to keep cleaning. Yeah, I mean that's really what, like I've kind of, I didn't know about the clothing aspect. Really, all I've heard about is the type of like.
I mean, I guess another argument would be, if the clothing is going to be made anyway, it's better to make it out of recovered, recycled plastic than out of new plastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
So I mean, I guess if that were the counter argument, I could see it, but I do see your point as well.
Yeah, totally. But I guess also if we think about the plastics problem, you're totally right. And if we're going to replace raw material with this one, perhaps this is the best option.
Yeah.
But also if we measure that in terms of like greenhouse gas emissions for the production, maybe the cleaning up the marine debris would, I don't know, I have no idea. I'm just like curious about it.
Because you know that plastic is made with petroleum products.
Of course.
Yeah. A lot of people don't quite realize that.
Oh,
so
okay.
like, for example, when you say we're going to be completely off fossil fuels in 10 years, most people, or a lot of people think that means like only cars and vehicles, whereas it's ships, it's airplanes, it's saran wrap, it's Tupperware, it's, you know, it's TV and computer
Shoe
parts.
soles,
It's a lot more than just engines that run on fossil fuels. So, you know, the plastics problem is a lot bigger than, you know, it's connected to the whole energy. It doesn't seem like it's energy, but it is connected to the energy problem, and
of course,
it's certainly an issue.
I'd have to look it up again because I can't be exactly sure, but I feel like I remember reading something a while ago that was something like the 13 largest ships in the world produce more emissions than every car combined in the world, something like that.
Oh wow.
I'd be surprised by that, but I'm not saying you're wrong.
Yeah. So my question, I mean, I know it was like something like that. My question is whether that's like cars running at a time, because obviously not every car in the world is running at the same time.
Right. They might have just done a simple like emissions over a year.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So that's why I'd have to look it up again. But
that would be scary if it's true.
Ships do produce a lot of emissions, and it's very hard. Like with cars, the filters use platinum, I believe, and it's very expensive. But then you think of the size filters and the amount that you would need for ships.
Yeah,
it's incredibly expensive.
It's also harder to make a ship more fuel efficient, like you can with a car.
Yeah, like a modern small car is actually, I probably doesn't emit very much at all compared to.
And also doesn't use very much.
Yeah, but there's so much like there's been so much drive to refine that, make that better. That's not present in ships, you know.
And so much of our trade relies on ships. That's kind of hard to just cut it out. If everyone wants their iPhone.
That's right.
Right.
And all the nice new sneakers and a lot of imported food products and clothing.
I think oftentimes when generalizations like that are made, it's not like, oh, we have to preserve our way of life to sacrifice the environment, but you do have to think seriously about how you would implement something like removing fossil fuels entirely, because it's not as simple as buying an electric car.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, going back to the plastics question, there's a couple of researchers at UCSB doing exactly that now, like analyzing the laundry the laundry, uh, some laundry places there in California, and analyzing the water to kind of get an idea of how much plastic goes in the water after washing our clothes there. And
Oh, that's really good.
that's really
That'd
cool.
be good to know.
Yeah, I'm super excited. I can't wait for those papers to be finished. And there's another paper that was, I think it was released last year, about all the fate of all the plastics ever made. Have you heard about it?
No.
It's by
No.
Roland Geyer. I call him like the plastics guy because he's like super into plastics, and he has a pretty awesome. I think I have a paper here in my computer, and most of the plastics around the world are packaging. So it's pretty crazy that we have plastics to just for transportation, and then we get rid of it. So
Oh, yeah.
it's like just one single-use plastic.
Yeah, I'm even
pretty
more
sad.
against styrofoam. And
Oh,
it-
absolutely.
And I think either Maine or Maryland, one of those states,
Yeah.
just banned it, which is awesome.
That is
and
great.
It kind of astounds me that it's 2019 and we're still using plastic.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry, we're still using styrofoam.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like I asked for
Yeah.
like a takeout box and it comes in. I'm like, really? Like get the like recycled fiber ones like Whole Foods has. Like why do we still have to have styrofoam?
Yeah,
I know they're slightly
exactly.
cheaper, but I'm just like, come on.
That's the thing. It's money.
It's
The thing
crazy.
is money. Yeah.
Because styrofoam breaks down even worse than
Oh,
plastics.
absolutely. Yeah.
Except for when you're shrinking it on an ROV, then it's okay.
Then it's cool.
Yeah, well, I mean, a lot of those end up, people take them home and make sure
But
they
the
keep
air's
them.
not in them, so it's. I think it. Well, that's probably still going to take a million years to decompose. So yeah.
I know they're looking into plastic eating bacteria.
Yeah, I think that's a
true.
really cool avenue of research, and or mushrooms too, like fungus.
Oh yeah,
that
I think that was
eats it,
another type. Yeah.
which is really cool. And if that's the case, then, I mean, obviously there's a lot of plastic to be eaten, but
Yep.
I think that is a really interesting avenue of research.
Yep. Biorecycling.
We've had a little bit of luck in our neighborhood bringing kind of Tupperware or tiffins to restaurants and getting our takeaway, getting them to put it in there, or just pulling it out of our bag and putting our leftovers in it ourselves from the plate. Something worth thinking about.
Yeah. Something I found interesting is you think you always you recycle and you take it to the dump and separate everything into their different bins. But a lot of times, if the local dump doesn't have a buyer for the recyclables, then they have nowhere to bring them besides with the rest of the trash. So people will separate everything, and then at the end of the day, they put it all back into the same pile and take it to go get burned or put in a landfill.
Yeah, and when we did recycling at the condo I had in Rhode Island, if there was like a single oily pizza box or a plastic bag that they would throw the entire can out. It's just like, well, so yeah, there's certainly a lot of progress that could be made in just the recycling infrastructure as well.
Yeah.
Just another reason why reducing air waste is much better than recycling, or putting your energy into reducing rather than energy, putting your time into recycling.
I feel like reduce is one of the most overlooked parts of that whole saying.
Well, yeah, because it's the
Reduce,
hardest.
reuse, recycle.
Yeah.
Reduce is definitely the least done.
People try to reuse and recycle, but still use the same quantity.
At the same time, it's pretty impossible to go to the supermarket and buy stuff without the use of plastic wrappers.
They make it very hard.
So
They make it really hard. I tried for a couple of weeks to buy things that are not covered in plastic, and my diet changed a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's super sad because there are things that you say like, there's no need for this amount of plastic. Yeah. Definitely a huge, this is a very complex subject, and there are
No, it's a
lots
cool
of
discussion to have, though.
opportunities yeah, and there's a lot of opportunities to act and be creative in the production, in the use, and the waste management aspects of plastics for sure.
Yeah.
The
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say, plastic also. I mean, everyone knows like chemicals in plastic are harmful, but there's a lot of chemicals that mimic certain human hormones, and can certainly affect younger children in development,
Yeah.
and affect their development severely.
Hmm.
Yeah, you
So-
certainly don't want to be drinking out of like a bottled water that's been sitting in the sun for
Yeah, I think
like
it's
a
like-
day or something.
Yeah, in the
You wanna
sun is
avoid
worse,
that.
and then like even like just in storage, like after 2 weeks, you're getting that leaching
Yeah.
into the water bottle.
I have a case of water that I bought before one of the hurricanes, like I think it was 2 years ago, and I just realized it was in my laundry room, and I was like, yeah, I'm not drinking that.
Yeah. I see people all the time microwaving things in plastic containers,
Yeah.
like Tupperware, and I'm like, no, don't do that.
Yeah.
You want, just put it on a plate or like something like actually, some of these even
And
say
then cover it in saran
microwave
wrap.
safe, and then cover it in saran wrap. That's a big one, is microwaving things covered in saran
Yeah.
wrap. Just a moist paper towel does
Yeah,
the
yeah.
same thing.
Does
Yeah.
it not melt?
Eventually it will.
I mean, eventually it
Saran
will,
wrap?
but like for 2 minutes it doesn't. But all the chemicals are still getting superheated on top of your food.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also it's interesting to know that polymers is just a universe, right? There's no such a thing as just one plastic. There are so many different types of plastics. They behave in a different way. They weather and break down in different ways, and they can be recyclable or not recyclable depending on what composition, what chemical composition they have. So
Yeah, I was writing an article about the use of telepresence in archaeology last year, and I at the end of it I discussed the archaeology of discard and kind of how with telepresence and with general exploration we're able to observe things that are not like the planned science, and it's not like, for example, a mission to go to Titanic. It's kind of like archaeology on the fly in a way, and the things that have been observed that have just been discarded. And while researching that, I came across the articles about that plastic island that's forming in the Pacific, and I didn't really. I mean, I was aware of it, but I didn't know the details about it. And like the fact that most of that is made up of fishing gear, plastic netting and fishing gear, and then it's also just a whole bunch of microplastics that are kind of like wrapped up inside it, is just like, it's really scary. Like volume-wise, 80% of that is all fishing gear.
Yeah, the nets
Yeah.
provide like the structure, and
Exactly,
then everything
yeah.
else just gets stuck to it.
absolutely, yeah.
There's a lot of, sometimes I like when you see like you go to tackle shops and they have like a line turn in, like when you have old spools of line
Yeah.
that you don't want, they take it and recycle it. But for the bigger businesses, they can't control if they lose gear during a storm or something,
Yeah.
and all that. So you get just massive amounts of gear that just end up stuck together.
And nets aren't made of rope fiber anymore. They're made of plastic fiber.
Yeah.
And we've seen a lot of those hung up on shipwrecks as well. A lot of them. And that
for
then
sure.
like just kind of can continually trap and kill fish, and then it acts as bait, just kind of like sunken or lost lobster traps do.
Yeah, we there was, it was either a wreck or a seaplane that had crashed back home that was a great dive site to go down to, and over time it was way shallower. You're looking at like 50 feet or something, where trawlers could actually get to, and they trawled over it and basically just ripped this thing to shreds.
Yep.
And it was really a bummer.
So we have an interesting question about, since we know that all like the main plastics seem to gather in 4 main locations in the ocean thanks to the ocean currents, why don't we just go there and like clean the whole thing? And I dare to think that since they're like international waters, and the cleaning up must be a very, very expensive
Yeah.
enterprise, I would say that it's difficult to get people on board when you need to spend money in something that's going to benefit everyone, but not everyone is going to
Oh, for
pay for
sure.
it. So we have a lot of like the free riding situation going on, I guess. And also I think it's not only about cleaning, it's preventing it to get there on the first place, right? So
Definitely. Because think about if that's how much just got collected there, think about how much is everywhere else that will be collected, you know. Ocean currents aren't super fast. If you dump it in the ocean now, it's not going to be there next week. So there's still years of plastics that are waiting to get collected.
It has to be like a global effort, perhaps, and we still have lots of other environmental issues to deal with, right?
Yeah, and I mean, you think of how far certain countries have come banning certain plastics and certain products, but then you think of some countries that have huge populations that haven't been able to make those strides yet. So, yeah, it's definitely not just one country or even a small group of countries can do it. It's kind of a worldwide thing.
Yeah, for sure. I actually wanted to propose to the OET expedition about plastics with UCSB.
Well, I remember, this is when I was working on Nautilus years ago. I remember people asking, you know, because we would go across the seabed, and this was true when we were in the Mediterranean, in the Caribbean, in the Pacific. You know, we'd find beer bottles, we'd find plastic bottles, we'd find trash bags, all that sort of stuff. And they would ask, well, you know, while you're down there, how come you don't pick up that stuff? And I mean, the answer is there's very small amount of room on Hercules, and you know, if that became the mission, it would become you'd sort of drown in it. And so the mission is exploration and documentation. And so, you know, the impact is more of the education and the showing people what's down there than it is, you know, using a single ROV to clean up a few things that are in sight. So it was kind of a tough question to answer, because it's like, well, yeah, we could, but then, you know, Nautilus isn't a ship where we can store stuff, and you never know what comes up with it. And there's a whole bunch of reasons, but I do think that general exploration and, you know, showing people what's on the seabed and kind of the impact of discarding things is important.
Yeah.
Or I guess I should say as important as cleaning it up.
Yeah, I'd say letting people know what's down there and what's worth protecting would be the first step, and then getting people encouraged to then protect it and clean it up would be the
I'm going to mark this as a target.
Roger that.
So that's
left or right?
40 meters port.
40 to port.
Was there some fish?
Well, that's the first target in a very long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for joining us in this conversation about plastics,
Is
energy.
that 5 or 5 6s? 150-6666
Where?
for ping number. Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
4 6s.
And the file name, is it still just 36? There's not
yeah.
there's not a point zero. Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Do you have a description for this?
Scatter of debris. I was hoping that something else interesting would come into view, but it really hasn't.
There's a little creature there.
I don't think it's bigger than a bread box.
Wow.
Now, do we have to be able to identify the creature that we see?
I don't think so.
Okay.
No,
I
it just
not
can't
a
be a
rock,
rock or
not
a
a
sea
sea cucumber.
It doesn't have to be a creature. It can be a piece of airplane.
Oh, okay.
It
cool.
could be.
Yeah.
It could
Can
be
you-
the plane.
Pull up the coordinates for that one again.
Oh,
Maybe.
if I don't delete it by accident.
Cool, thank you. All right, I'm good, thank you.
All right.
Good night to the viewers that are going to sleep right now. Thanks for following us today.
All these things coming in, I'm always like convincing myself, oh, it's something, and then I'm just like, no, we've seen that stuff before.
I think we all have been
I
dreaming
know, yeah.
on finding something that we haven't seen before here.
Yeah, I was saying I haven't had one of those like wake up like, oh no, I'm missing something things yet, but I definitely, when I went to bed, I went to put my head on the pillow and I tried to adjust my mic out of the way and then realized I wasn't wearing the headset.
Oops, oh shoot, I closed it. Did not mean to do that. Crap.
Are we going for that one?
No, that means it's going to change where I'm saving things. I'm not saving a target, I have to redo some
Oh, okay.
configuring. Oh, it still remembers. Cool. We must have had it open long enough. Oh,
So
but did we? Ooh, I think it.
how about that? Is that in the water column? Looks kind of separated from it.
Yeah, it's a little separate. That's weird. But the next target number is not 4, it's 60, right?
I'm on.
Yes.
It's a giant worm.
Well, everything is stretched out, right?
Well, here it's touching.
Okay.
Up here it's not. So that's just, let's mark it. Why not? See if I can actually save it correctly this time.
Alright. What about 55 to starboard?
What the heck did that do? Yeah. Why is that not moving with it? It's so weird.
There's at least interesting looking targets over here, whatever they are.
For the description, I put shadow not touching in high frequency sonar. All right. Let me get the coordinates real quick.
Yeah, so basically what we're doing is scanning the area, looking for features that are not very easy to find in nature, which are
Yeah,
right
sorry.
angles and long straight lines, propellers or shapes like that. Good night, Canada. Sleep well. So yeah, going back to that discussion on plastics, there's several places in Europe that burn plastics and use the heat as source of energy. Yeah, for sure. And then they use a lot of scraps for cleaning up the air. I haven't done much research about that method. It is getting pretty popular in Europe, so yeah, I couldn't speak much about that.
Isn't there like some European country that ran out of trash and they're like importing it from
Yeah,
other
they don't have
countries?
landfills.
Yeah,
in-
because they're burning it, but
Yeah.
they're using it to produce power at the same
Exactly.
time. So that's
And they have huge,
like a step in
powerful
the right
scrubbers
direction.
to clean the air.
What
Yeah.
country is that?
I have no idea.
It's Sweden, and I think Germany is going on the same track.
Going that way?
Mm.
Cool. But yeah, I just remember seeing something that's like they're importing garbage.
Yeah, totally. And speaking about vehicle tires, well, if they're made out of rubber, which is different than plastics, they don't take that long to decompose since they come from more organic sources. The chemical composition is not that complex. But right now, I don't know if all tires are just rubber or they have
Yeah,
like
I think certain tire structures they mix so that they're more durable, you know, different
yeah,
than a rubber
exactly.
band.
Yeah, like those run flat tires. I mean, they're hard plastic on the
Yeah.
sides. It's
Mm.
just the it's just the tread part that's half normal.
Yeah.
But yeah,
And they have steel in them too, right? They have like a
oh yeah,
Oh, they
like
have
a
those
structure.
metal fibers too. Yeah.
But I know like rubber itself is a naturally occurring substance. It's a good rock. What's that in front of the rock?
fish.
Yeah, we
So-
can try and zoom.
Large fish?
Maybe.
No, that's a rock.
Oh,
Another
man.
rock.
Yeah, it's a rock, yeah.
It's a rock that looked like a fish.
It's a rockfish.
Fish rock.
Take a photo of this nice boulder.
You're really
I
having fun
love
back
bossa
there, aren't you?
nova. Yes.
If we ever need photos of rocks from Argus Cam, this is like the perfect dive.
How happy all the geologists would have been.
Oh, okay. Just making sure that was you.
We haven't found the Kraken yet, so you haven't missed that part.
The Kraken?
Yeah, we have a follower that is looking for the Kraken.
Oh, you didn't see it?
What?
Oh, I missed it.
You stepped out, we found it.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, it actually, I think video cut out exactly that time too, so it probably won't be in the recording. Sorry,
Yeah.
guys. But we totally saw it.
It and the Megalodon went on.
And
so-
the-
Oh,
yeah.
right there.
there it is.
there it is in the
That
sonar.
almost looked like a bag for a second. I had to zoom.
Oh, yeah, no. I think it's a rock.
Yeah, I'd say with a, oh. Where'd it go?
He's not playing.
The thing in the sonar.
Yeah, it comes when they zoom the camera.
Oh, that was an artifact?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's
noise.
noise from the camera zoom.
I was really
That's wild.
confused.
That happened once before I realized what it was. And it was like, there's something there, and then it disappeared again.
Oh, because I remember I looked at side scan, like I saw that when we zoomed, but I didn't look at the mezzo.
That looks like the Punisher logo with the top left part blown away.
Oh yeah.
Where
The what?
in
Punisher.
the sonar?
Yeah, on the left side, the Punisher logo.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Oh, was that something?
I said someone sees something
right.
in
Yes.
sonar.
Got it.
Perfect. How many more to go
Oh,
on
and
our bingo?
that only needs one
Whoa.
more. What's that?
What do we have on the bingo? still?
We can't say it
Can't say anything right now.
right now,
What bingo?
but we'll tell
Oh.
you guys.
Okay.
Because we can't make it happen. you
Oh,
know.
okay, okay.
What
Well.
is that target?
That is.
Oh, those 2 lines?
Yeah.
Ah, what's that?
Kind of
I
funny.
think- I think that's
I
a-
guess it's rocks, but
Another lava flow.
it's really defined.
The beginning, yeah.
Looks like
It's a handsome lava
those
flow.
old licorice from the 50s.
Is this
Old
just a
bow tie
rock
candy or
in front of
something.
us?
I don't know.
Like a weird
Does
rock?
it fit in a bread box?
Kind of looks like a
I'm gonna zoom
bird
on
with
this.
a
Like a
tail.
stick.
What is that?
Like
Well,
a
you
stick?
can't fit that in
Just a
a
stick.
Wow.
I-
A stick.
You can't
It's
fit
a
that in a
stick.
bread
I
box.
can't. You cannot fit that in a
That's
bread
part of
box.
the
And
bingo.
it is not a rock.
It's not a rock.
Bingo.
Really?
Yeah.
Heck yeah. All right, so we got bingo with high pack color change. Not a rock, not a sea cucumber, bigger than a bread box. Free space. Drive through a siphonophore. And Dan makes a change.
Which Dan makes a change is essentially another free square.
What was the change?
The sonar, which
Yeah, he
is-
changed
in,
the increments.
in hindsight is not really that. It's kind
But
of an
he-
operational
He
thing.
did something
Then he
here.
did that. Yeah, he did other. He did this too. There's lots.
Yeah.
I didn't think we were going to get it.
We should, if we do it again, we should put Dan makes a change in the free
in
space.
the free space, yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Now you gotta get like some
that's
funny
great.
letters or shapes or something. Don't they do that? Bingo sometimes. You've never done that?
No.
You play bingo and there's like different patterns you have to get on the board to
Oh,
win.
yeah, like get an X or do like
Yeah.
4 corners or something.
oh right, yeah.
And the really difficult one is like filling in the full card,
Right.
Well,
which would require finding an airplane.
it would, but just about everything else on it would go with that.
Oh,
That's right.
that would be
There'd be
good.
headset drops.
People
there-
running in.
Boom.
May or
Different.
may not be
There'd be
some of that
some
on
of that.
SPL. We would reconnect Herc. Actually, I don't think we'd get someone falls asleep. I think
No.
everyone would pretty much
Have to
stay
get
awake.
that one first.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys for participating in my serious conversation about plastics.
Yeah, of course.
That was interesting, and thank you.
Yeah, definitely thought it was something.
Thanks to our viewers also that got involved in the conversation. That was really nice, really interesting.
Definitely thought it was different when you said serious conversation.
It was a serious conversation.
I mean,
it
it
is,
is, but my mind went
I
to
thought we were gonna be very deep.
like, yeah. No, I was thinking like personally serious,
I
not
was like,
like
that's a loaded question. I
not
don't know,
like
I don't wanna talk about politics or
humanity
anything in here.
I,
preservation.
oh
kind of
yeah,
question.
your face, Steve, was priceless. You looked at me like, what? What's wrong with this person?
I hate when people like text you and they're like, "Can you call me? I have to ask you something."
Yeah,
don't know, just
I
like the way like when people like have to preface their question.
Someone-
It's like, oh, that's a bad sign.
get a text like, "Hey, where do we keep the EpiPens?" Why?
That's
EpiPens, epinephrine for severe allergic reactions. So they're.
You take the time to ask why?
Yeah.
No,
well, it
well,
depends.
When
no,
someone
that's-
asks you
I know.
about
no, that's very-
epinephrine,
that's
you
when
just like
that's
get
when
it.
yeah you just immediately tell the
Yeah.
person
Yeah,
where it
You
is.
That's
have
what
to
I was
get it
thinking.
for them.
But yeah, it's kind of like what's going on? It's like, oh no, I just want to know. Okay. Look at all these square-looking targets.
I don't know. Probably rocks.
square rocks.
Probably yeah, rocks with multiple pings.
Mm.
We know your tricks now.
Here comes a rock.
Where? Oh, in Argus. Look at that.
Get ready, it's gonna get real.
It's like it already is real.
All right, I'm gonna zoom in it.
A rock.
Wow.
Nice rock.
Got it.
Coming out.
That was fantastic. That's pretty neat.
Still got it.
That's pretty neat. You guys ever seen that video?
Nope.
Is what we're seeing now still rocks?
Yes.
Yep.
Like just wishful thinking, right?
Yeah, it's that. It's the going slow, the multiple pings. So Mike's still back there taking a look at it, and he's got a lot better idea of what the true shape we're looking for. You know, that trained eye that we don't have up here.
Yeah. So if these are like 60 meters tall, each of these quadrants, let's say, and it takes 56 seconds for it to pass through. And we're going, how fast are we going?
I'm not. That's the math I'm not
One
trying
knot?
to do right now.
I just want to figure out how much I have to imagine this being compressed.
I'd say usually they tow at about 4 knots.
So
So
everything
Well,
is...
isn't it stretched?
That's what I'm
yeah,
saying.
that's what we're saying.
Oh,
do
so
you,
you're
how do you
how much do
imagine
I need
it?
to
Should I imagine
compress?
everything 4 times
Maybe, yeah.
more compressed? It's really hard.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, here comes a fish in Argus.
Heck yeah. Where?
Left.
Oh, really tiny? Oh, I see
Ow.
it.
Still getting dripped on. There it is again.
We're slacking.
If it weren't for copyright issues, that'd be super cool if when we found it, we just started streaming We Are the Champions by Queen over this satellite feed.
No, we
Are
need
there
sad,
copyright
creepy
issues if you
piano
just started
music.
singing it?
Technically,
I think being what we are, like for someone to do it themselves, it's different, but...
did you know that Happy Birthday, like the American
Oh yeah, they
version
make
was
so many royalties off
copyrighted
that.
for years, and then movies, like,
Yeah.
they use different songs and stuff. Yeah, but now it's been in public, now it's old enough that it's,
Yeah.
anybody can use it.
Public domain.
Yep.
What is it? There was something big that was going to become public domain sometime coming up. Was it, maybe it was like a cartoon or something?
Don't know.
I don't know, that like people had the right to like make whatever products they wanted of it or something. I don't know. I hear laughter and I feel like I'm missing something.
That's interesting.
I think it's really big boulders.
Maybe like a double, you know, like a reflection or something.
Is that very bright yellow?
Just a harder return, probably an outcrop of rocks or something.
Hmm.
Like the rock you see in Argus View right now.
I'm very curious about what metal looks like here. Like what kind of...
It's gonna be very similar. It's really the shape of the shadow that sets it apart.
Hmm.
Shouldn't it be brighter?
I mean, it will be very bright, but I mean, to what degree can you go brighter? You know, that's pretty bright yellow right there.
Okay.
But yeah, definitely the shadow should give it away.
Yeah, we should be able to see some sort of plane component shape in the shadow. So you know, when it's a strong reflection, then kind of just a bulbous shadow, we know from experience that it's rocks and lava flow. So we're looking for some sort of right angles, man-made object-looking things in the shadows. That's what's going to help differentiate it.
And yeah, Mike, can you tell us a little bit more about the software that you use after we scan this area? Yeah, so there's quite a variety of softwares that can process side-scan sonar data. I'm using one called SonarWiz. It basically takes the raw pings that we're getting, and this is a water flow that's kind of at a set speed, so it's kind of stretching things out. So these softwares take each ping, which is each sound wave that comes out, and they each have a coordinate, like a latitude and longitude attached to it. So then it'll stitch it back together in the right orientation based on the heading. And then you can process it. You can get rid of some of the distortion that gets out at the edges, and then you can correct for some of the heave and some of the other distortions that are in the data. So you can get a slightly better look at what these targets look like. Mm-hmm.
We have our sunset cam.
Welcome to the people that just signed in. Thanks for joining us on this search of the Samoan Clipper. Yeah, this Pan American flying boat was last seen in this area on January 11, 1938. So we've been scanning the area using a side scan sonar, and marking some targets for further exploration. Well, you can see on our channel 2, we have Argus camera that's showing what we can see in the seafloor. So we haven't seen any mammals yet down there, and nor on the surface actually. We did see, I didn't, but some of the team members saw a sea turtle right before we started this expedition.
Really? Oh, the expedition. I thought you were going to say on the dive. Too deep.
I would love to see some dolphins jumping, or it would be great to see some orcas. It would be awesome.
Do they come this area, orcas?
Yeah, jumping.
But do they come here? The water's so warm.
I have no idea about the distribution of the orcas. Can you hear me, science team?
Yeah, I hear you.
Can we ask a couple of questions to Ross since he's here?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
What's up?
Okay. So are we going like up north again after this line?
Yes, so we will track up north, kind of covering all this turn area, I believe. And then once we get to that gap line, we'll cut in.
Okay.
That'll be next watch.
Hey Chris, did we do 5 lines or 3 on the west side?
Solid question. Let me find
I
out.
think it was 23 through 27, but it could be wrong.
Like, how many did we lay down, or how many did we
How many did we survey?
3.
Didn't the whole program close before then?
Oh, yes it did. So, possibly 5?
Did you write down what lines we've done?
Yeah, I can look at back in the event log. Ooh, that's cool. Look at Argus. It's like something.
Ooh, these are
Coming
I
off
think it
the
was
side.
5.
I think it was 5 too.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
It looks like there's enough space because we skipped that first one that was right on the line.
And how long are they? Like 3 miles, something like that?
Length. We're looking at
5.5 kilometers.
yeah, so just over 3
A
miles.
little over 3 miles. Nautical miles?
Let me get an exact
Yeah.
nautical miles.
Okay, we're going to get exact nautical miles.
Just under 3 nautical miles.
Yeah, we'll say 3 nautical miles. It's like 2.96. 5.
I'm guessing they entered 3 when they put them in.
Wait, did we get it twice? Did we get it? Hmm.
Double bingo.
We have double bingo now.
We do have
Double bingo.
That's great.
Really?
Yeah.
Yep.
So did that photo happen, or did they cancel it? Do we know? They didn't do it? Okay.
They're stuck in this box.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
It's
Because
raining.
Photoshop.
it's dark out now. Or
It's
pretty
great
much.
for that.
Allison did just go out this side door, and it's pretty dark out. Do we count that?
Oh, is it?
Is I mean, I guess.
It's the
I
wrong
mean, it's
door.
not the. It's not. I
So
don't
did we
know.
determine that Miles and Randy were up there pouring water over their crack?
Oh no, I was just joking.
Because that'd be
Actually,
pretty awesome.
it's unconfirmed. That would be funny, but no, I think it's just the rain.
Probably. It was raining kind of hard.
Yeah,
Is it still dripping?
it
A little
is.
We
bit.
could send an intern up with a sponge.
That's me.
He is
Oh,
the
yeah.
intern.
That's right. Go sponge it off.
Yeah, get a sponge.
We could send our assistant.
Our
No,
assistant
no,
to the
no, no.
artist.
Pilot.
Not doing that.
Who's the assistant, Mike?
The assistant to the Argus pilot today.
Uh-huh.
His job. He's got the gauge sheet right now.
That's right.
Oh, he's
busy.
doing his one job.
An Overwatch.
You had one job.
That's a crazy looking cloud in the aft camera right now.
Oh, yeah, that is ominous.
Oh, that close,
Yeah,
low
like-
one.
Yeah.
Oh. What camera is that?
I
It looks like something the Justice League has to fight.
Like a tornado touching down,
That is weird.
except it's not.
Yeah, it
Not
does
yet-
look really
not
strange.
Yet.
Oh yeah.
Water spouts are pretty cool. Seen a couple of those.
Yeah, I've seen a couple in some in the Black Sea and some in the Gulf. And when we were in the Gulf, we were like, "Oh my God, they come